So next, let's talk about what really makes a good goal. Now we shared our goals, which is excellent, but how can we reframe these in a way that makes it so much more likely that we're going to achieve these goals, right? So let's ask ourselves a couple of questions. First of all, let's ask ourselves, how big is our goal? You know, so there's something called BHAGs, BHAGS. And what BHAG stands for is a big, hairy, audacious goal. It's big, hairy, and audacious. I know audacious is a really big word. It just means absurdly crazy and out of this world. So this is not a term that I came up with. It's a term from Jim Collins and I think Jerry Porras, who are the authors of Good to Great. So they came up with this concept of big, hairy, audacious goals. So you want to come up with a goal that isn't something that you can easily achieve. It should be a stretch goal. It should be a goal that needs you to expand in order to make it happen. So those are the goals that are going to make you sweat. You want a goal that makes you sweat. We are all anyway sweating in this April heat, but instead of the Sri Lanka sun, we need our goals to make us sweat. So when you're setting a goal, don't set a goal that you know 100% will happen. Choose a goal that has a 50 to 70% chance of success. So you have to push in order to make it happen. So look again at your goals and ask yourself, is this something that I need to stretch in order to achieve? Having seen them, I think yes, I think these are, you are stretching yourselves and you are choosing stretch goals, which is fantastic. So we always want to choose something that we need to push ourselves in order to really get done. Now, the second thing is we need a deadline. So the I'm sure you have heard that saying that a goal I can't remember it properly. Something basically a plan, a dream without a like something, a goal without a deadline is a dream or something like that, right? I don't know. If anyone remembers it, please tell me what it is. Rather, the difference between it being a goal versus a dream. Is it going to happen or is it just some nice fantasy that you are enjoying having? You need to put a deadline on it. So set a deadline for your goal. But again, just like we pushed ourselves out of our comfort zones in terms of choosing a goal itself, we need to push ourselves out of our comfort zones in terms of setting that deadline as well. Thank you, Shazra. A goal without a deadline is just a dream. Thank you. That's so much nicer than what I was blabbering. So once again, we need to push ourselves. We need to choose a deadline that feels close. It shouldn't be a deadline that feels far away. So, for example, the moment you push your deadline to next year, it's far away. So, consider those turning points. Like if you have to do something and you say, I'm going to do it this week versus I'm going to do it next week sounds so far away. In your mind, you can't sweat about next week. And remember, we are trying to make ourselves sweat. So we need to set a deadline that feels close. So always try to keep it within this, whether it's this week or this month or this year or this something, right? And make use of the turning points in your life as well. So some of these goals are very big goals and very long-term goals, right? Like implementing public policy. That's not something you can say, I'm going to do it this week and it'll happen, you know? So you have to set a realistic deadline, but you should be pushing yourself in terms of that deadline, that you're not saying, if it happens 50 years from now, it's fine, You have to set a deadline that is still realistic, but is also a stretch, that you have to put in the work to make it happen, and that you can get it done if you do certain things and if you put in the work. So try to pick a deadline that's close and also make use of turning points in your life. So, for example, for me, a turning point is turning 30. That's a huge milestone in life, right? Right. It's like, oh my God, you're a proper adult now. So, so like, but what's really interesting is that this is something that happens naturally to us, because what studies show is that people are more likely to run a marathon at the ages of 29, 39, 49, are you 59? Are you seeing a pattern here? They're about to turn a decade. So people are much more likely to meet those goals, make like set goals for those turning points, because we want to do things before we hit a certain age, right? And so make use of that in your own life as well. And ask yourself, use even occasions like your birthday, or like even like whatever it is, like if it's let's say Christmas or something, before Christmas I want to do this, because that makes it very visible, very tangible to you. Okay, Christmas is here and I didn't do it, I know it didn't happen, right? So those things make it very real for you. So find a deadline that feels close and consider turning points in your life as well and special occasions. Now, the next point is make sure your goal has measurable success. So, for example, let's say you have a goal, like Salma said, to stay consistently fit. Now, Salma, you're already making progress on your goal, right? So when you're setting your goal, like this may be something you've already done, and you just for simplicity you have mentioned it this way in the chat. But when you're setting a goal, what you want to do is avoid using a goal like to get exercise. You want to set a goal that is, you know, I want to uh, be exercising 3 times a week for 45 minutes every day, like every week. That can be your goal. Or it can be a goal that, I want to lose X amount of pounds by this date or something like that. So it should be measurable. Because if you set a goal to like, again, let's say, my goal is to, like, I want to see the world, right? If my goal is to see the world, then how can I say that I've achieved my goal? At what point did I achieve my goal? Like, is it when I have gone to 2 countries, or is it when I've gone to 50 countries? Or like, at what point can I check off my goal and say it's done? I have achieved my goal. So you want to make your goal very measurable. Make it really clear to you. Have I achieved my goal or have I not? So, for example, if on my birthday, if on my 30th birthday, I don't have a book that is available for sale to everybody, then I have not met my goal. So that mean then it's very clear, did she meet it or did she not meet it? So I can see my own success, yes or no. So that's why it helps to have a deadline, but it also helps to frame our goal in a way that it is measurable, that it is very concrete and something that we can feel. So think about that in terms of setting your goal.